Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host. And today I have the amazing Angela Duncan on the show. Angela is somebody that was referred to me by Joe Ingram. She seems to be an amazing woman. I can't wait to hear her story. So if you would do me a favor and share this out, just click that little share button. Don't be stingy. Share it out with everybody. Let's get a bunch of people on here and have some fun and talk to Angela and hear her story. So stay with us. We'll be right back. And we are back. Let me bring Angela on the show. Angela, welcome.
How are you today?
Good. I saw you back there kind of grooving to the music.
Yes, I always say I have like this internal music player in my head. It's just constantly going. So when I hear it out loud, I just start dancing.
I love that. I do the same thing. Look, Joe Ingram is the guy that referred you to me. So thank you, Joe. And yes, Joe knows you as well. So, Angela, thank you for coming on the show. I told you this is all about helping people get unstuck in life and have a breakthrough. And I truly believe that by hearing other people's stories and how they broke through, we get to have our own breakthroughs as a result of hearing that. So, why don't you start with telling everybody where you were born and raised? Where did it all start for you?
Well, I was born in San Francisco, and I wouldn't say I was necessarily raised anywhere. We moved around a ton when I was little, but I did finish high school in San Diego, and now I live in beautiful Miami.
So you got out of California. I'm sorry.
Yes, I left California in 2006, and I have not moved back. I love visiting, but it just wasn't the right place for me to live.
It's so I'm San Diego, especially that whole I was in Carlsbad a couple years ago, and wow, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is beautiful. Until I saw the price of gas, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm like, what? Anyway. Yeah, look, Joe said it, the People's Republic of California. So San Diego's a nice area though. That's a really nice area.
It was, but as an entrepreneur, between state income tax, the other taxes, and the price of housing, when you're just starting off in a business, it's very hard to, think about having all those additional expenses when you're just starting off in life.
Right. True. Absolutely true. So you got out of there, you went to Miami. Had you started a business already?
No. So I met my ex-husband on MySpace. For anyone who remembers that website, it's not a dating website.
I still have a MySpace account. I'm on it every day. I'm kidding.
Yes. I was living in San Diego and he was living in Tampa. And we started flying back and forth and, got a little bit serious. And we were like, all right, someone's moving. So I moved.
Wow. Probably a good idea, though.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with the move. And I've never, looked back.
Right. So I'm a look at what Joe said. Tom is still my friend. Right. Right.
Does it still exist? I'm curious now.
I don't know. I did a few years ago because I got curious and I went and tried to and I was able to log in. So I don't know if it still does or not. It's definitely not what it used to be, at least from what I remembered. So talk about what it was like for you. You said you moved a lot. So you were born in San Francisco, Northern California. And then you ended up graduating from high school in San Diego. Did you stay in California that whole time through childhood or?
Nope. When I was about
Wow.
7, my mom met who I refer to as the devil. That's the only way I can ever describe him. He abused me as a child, and he also decided that he was going to make a career on living on the wrong side of the law. So we had to move a lot because you got to run away from the police if they're, close to catching you. So I lived in California, Washington, Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, Missouri, Texas, all before the age of 15. And
Oh
so
my
when I was 15, my mom, I actually came home. We were living in Vegas at the time. I came home, was off the school bus, and there was police in my front yard. And I walked into the house, and my mom and the devil was in handcuffs. And the police officer said, grab a backpack, just put some essentials in that backpack. My brother was 3 at the time. So, no, I was 14. Yeah, he was 3 at the time. So they told me to pack him a bag, and they took me and him off to protective services. And then my mom finally left that situation, thankfully. But when I was 18 years of age, I decided that I needed to go out on my own, that I was not in a safe environment.
Yeah.
And I needed to kind of figure things out for myself and hopefully rebuild. And I don't know, maybe at the time I was running away from my situation, but
Yeah.
I needed to be able to take control of my life. And that was the only way I knew how.
Wow. We have that all in common, by the way.
Hmm.
I have everything. Anyway, that's crazy. Wow. And except for I was 17 when I left and I didn't graduate high school. I was like, I'm out of here. But so talk about, gosh, I can relate so much of that and the horrible feelings that go with it.
Hmm.
So when you left at 18, where were you living with your mom at the time?
In Santee, so which is like a suburb area of San Diego. We were living in Section 8
Oh,
housing at the time. And when I was old enough to sign my lease, I had 3 jobs, was enrolled in college, but I at least wanted to get out into my own environment.
wow. Wow. So you got out and did that when she left him, you said she left, did it stay permanent, like she was permanently away from him?
Yes,
Because
thank God for that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So then you move out of the Section 8 housing that you're living with your mother in, and you stayed in San Diego?
I did. It took me about
Okay.
5 years to finish college, and I had many jobs during that time. Just, I always thought that if I learned more about money, that I would never have to live a poverty lifestyle, and that if I had children someday, I wouldn't have to put them through that poverty lifestyle. So, went to college. I studied finance. One of my first jobs out of college, I worked for Bank of America, and I worked for an incredible financial advisor team, got my license, started learning about investing, and then kind of went through the tech bubble and realized that I really want to help people with their
Yeah.
money, but that wasn't the right place for me. So moved on from there into real estate, which is where I met my ex-husband, and hence the move to Florida. But yeah,
Wow.
it was difficult during those college years because I didn't know about money. So if I had known more about how to work smart instead of work 7 days a week, perhaps it wouldn't have taken me so long to finish college. But I learned a lot during that time period, and it was very difficult for me to pay for college and then to
Yeah.
work so many jobs at the same time. I didn't get to do like the college experience. I went to Cal State San Marcos, which is pretty much was at the time a commuter school. And
Mm.
so I didn't do football games or frats and sororities because I didn't have any time for any of that. So a lot of stuff I missed out, but obviously that was God's plan and the path that He put me on. And I'm grateful that I finished college.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. And so your degree was in what?
In finance.
Finance. I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to make assumptions. It could have been biology or something. I'm kidding. So okay, so you graduated from college. Congratulations on that. And it sounds like you experienced a lot of handouts. I'm kidding. Like you're like, what's that? So like I just think that's so baller though. Like you did it in spite of all the crap you were going through. You went out and made it happen. That's incredible. It's
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
it was really difficult leaving my house too because my brother, who was much younger than I, we shared
Right.
a room when I lived at home with my mom.
Okay.
But leaving him with that environment, it was tough. But I also knew that I was not in a state of mind where I could really help him.
Yeah.
And so I knew that I needed to work on my own mental health first and to get myself financially secure so
Yeah.
that, I could pick him up on a day off or a weekend and go spend some time with him. But that was really hard, I think, for me to not only leave that situation, but to kind of leave him behind because I felt like so much of his mother. When you're in that type of situation, you kind of take on that role.
Yeah.
But I knew that I had to do better for myself first, and I think
Right.
that's difficult for a lot of people.
Wow. You're certainly, and Joe said it, you're the poster child for resilience.
Mm.
And I have to agree with that. So you're still in San Diego at the time. You graduate college with your degree in finance, and you immediately became a multimillionaire.
No, I wish.
Oh,
But
oh,
what I
oh,
but what I did learn is this, is I'm a curious person, right? And so
mm,
I encourage other people, if you have curiosity, allow yourself to be curious because
yeah,
sometimes as parents, I'm a parent, my daughter's about to be 21. We kind of shush our kids if they ask too many questions, like because I said so, or something like that. So I'm glad that I was a curious person. And when I started working for the bank, I had two incredible women mentors who would allow me to just ask a million questions, like, not only about investing, but also how do you help clients? Why do you do what you do? And they taught me so much about, just taking care of people
yeah,
when you work in the business world. And I'm grateful that, we crossed paths. I'm grateful that they were able to take me under their wing and just kind of teach me how to be in business and how to communicate with people, because it's not something that I learned from my childhood, quite the opposite. But, finding great mentors in the beginning of my career really helped me to move forward and kind of have some confidence. And because I think confidence comes with knowledge, but it also comes with relationship building,
yep,
and to learn that service and how to be more of a servant when it comes to clients, and how to lead with your heart and not necessarily worry about the money. Because when you grow up without money, I don't really have that fear of losing it because I never had it. So
right,
all my mission, right, is to, now I would like to get some money, but you remove that fear of losing it because I don't know what it feels like to have money, right?
right, right. So that sounds like it was a while ago. So Joe says I don't yell. Stop it, Joe. Kidding. I never yell at Joe. Um so 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 you so did you get a job? Where did you say that? Did I miss that?
Yeah,
Did you get a job?
I worked for Bank of America at the time. It was the Bank of America Investment Division, so
Okay.
pre
Okay.
Merrill Lynch era.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's where I got my securities license. I was
got it.
actually pregnant when I got my securities license,
Wow.
and it just was, I've got to figure this out. And I think I put a lot of weight on my own shoulders at the time. I was not a Christian. I didn't believe in God at all.
Yeah.
Growing up in the environment, maybe you can relate, is if no one's around you to tell you any different, right? That God doesn't exist for me as a child, because why would he let us suffer like he did? But that wasn't what
Yep.
he did. He was there the whole time. He was just making sure that I had the strength to endure what I did, because he couldn't change the devil in my life. But I understand that now, and I think I went completely off a tangent on what we were just talking about. But yeah, I did have.
No, no, no. You did not. I love that. I remember there was a song. Now I know I'm a lot older than you, but there was a song it was like Dear Mr. Jesus, and it was about that. I was like, wow. But so I can so totally relate to all of that. So when you were working for Bank of America, that's a huge company. I think BlackRock owns them now, right? I'm kidding. I shouldn't have said that on. Um, I should. I gotta. Sorry, Joe infected me with all this stuff. How long were you there with them?
I stayed with Bank of America all the way through my move to Florida. So I was there maybe 8 years.
Okay,
Um,
wow.
when I moved to Florida, my ex was in real estate and he was getting super busy. And I just wasn't happy anymore with the bank job. We had gone through so many mergers and I was bringing home my laptop on the weekends and just working crazy hours. And he said, "Well, I need to hire an assistant." And I thought, I could be an assistant. I could be a real estate assistant. That would help me be, maybe Monday through Friday.
Yeah,
And so I quit the corporate job, having
yeah,
going to 100% commission as a newlywed and with a 3-year-old. We kind of took a chance, and
yeah.
that's where my business transitioned into real estate, and that's where my empire building began, I guess you could say.
Wow. Okay, so there's a lot of different facets to real estate. So specifically, were you in the like multifamily? Were you what kind of real estate were you getting into?
When we first started, we were real estate agents. It was a husband and
Oh,
wife team, and we started to build out a team and add other agents to our team. So we were strictly residential properties. And at this time period, if you could think back, so as mentioned, I left my security of my corporate job with a newborn or with a 3-year-old and a newlywed. This was 2007. So it was right before.
oh my gosh.
Yes. So we buckled down, right? Because in that moment, I
Mm,
believe that scarcity from my childhood, like I'm going to be poor again. I don't want to be poor. And all of those thoughts start going through your head. But
yeah,
I don't have a choice. I just need to keep moving forward because we've got responsibilities. We've got a team. We've got a child, and
yeah,
going through a housing market crash without the stability of guaranteed income, 100% commission, we knew that we just sat down and we're like, all right, where can we cut expenses? How do we live as lean as possible? Where
yeah,
can we find more clients without spending money? And, where's all the free stuff? So that's what we had to determine. You have to really look at your own income and your own household expenses when you're going through a housing market crash, when that's like your source of income, right? But
yeah,
you just have to keep moving forward. And then you find people and you find mentors and coaches. We hired our first coach, and he actually made us take a vacation before he would work with us because we were working nonstop.
yeah.
And I found that, one of the things I'm very grateful for early on was that. But yeah, you have to move forward. You have to just really buckle down and figure out, what can I do to stay alive in this situation? What can I learn? And then how do
Yeah.
I teach others?
Right. I, I I remember that whole thing all too well because I lost a house. My wife and I lost a house in the middle of all that. We won't even go down that road. I was getting ready to say thanks, Wells Fargo, also owned by BlackRock, but we won't talk about that. Sorry. Do you see why Joe and I are friends now? Do you get it? Now I've lost my train of thought, but it was a very 2008 and 9 and even into 10 a little bit. It was a tough period of time
Mhm.
for America. But did you ever think though, because you were realtors, did you ever think maybe we should start a mechanics garage or something instead of this? Or like should we do something else besides what nobody is buying right now? Like,
Yeah. I mean, we had some side gigs. I
oh,
actually
okay.
we took photos for Google before Google became what it was. They were hiring
Wow.
independent people to go and take a photo of a business so they could piece
Yeah.
it all together. So we worked for Google. My ex was great at finding out when like the new Wii was going to come on sale at Best Buy. We would go buy it and flip it. So you're looking for other sources of income, right? So we did that. And then we had an idea to open an ice cream shop, or actually it was a milkshake shop. I'm glad we didn't do that because you don't make money in milkshakes. So, we just kept exploring options. Like, what else can we do to make money, right? And then in 2010, we decided we're going to open our own company and have the control over what we do with our agency, how we market and advertise. My ex was really forward thinking in marketing. I've always been great with numbers and operations and systems. So it was a good business match. And I think you need to figure out that for yourself too, especially when you come from a very traumatic childhood. You have to stop believing the lies that you were told as a child and understand that you do have God-given gifts and you are responsible to grow those gifts. And then I always say, I still give back to other people. That's like my main purpose in life. I become a better person so that I can share with other people and help them become better people as well.
That's so beautiful. I love that.
Sure.
Joe has some serious issues. We all know that. If you know Joe, he's got.
I was going to say that song is inappropriate for any young listeners.
Oh my gosh. So, I've never even heard the song, so
Really?
I don't even know. I mean, I know the reference.
You're not missing anything.
Okay. Okay. So, I love that, because I've always said that, for many, many years, the resentment I lived in, with all of that stuff, tried to kill me. I mean, I'm a recovered alcoholic. Trust me, it wasn't before I stopped drinking, I was almost dead multiple times. And so, that resentment was the fuel. And after I learned how to forgive and move on, and I didn't do it, God did it. I tried to do it, but then God was like, "You're not going to be able to do it on your own, bro. So you might as well hit me up, you got my digits." And I was like, "Okay." So, but I finally learned to forgive, and now I say, and I don't know if you're like this or not. I'm getting to a point. Now I say, you know what? All of that stuff, I don't resent it now. I'm grateful that it happened because it made me who I am today and gave me the ability to have empathy for other people.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. And now, one of my focuses now is teaching women about money. And I get asked, why women? Well, if my mom had perhaps a different financial education, I think that perhaps she could have chosen a different lifestyle. And so I'm empathetic to people, especially like the kids that grow up in poverty. I know what it's like to get made fun of, for not having new clothes or because I have to get the school lunch program, because we qualify. But I have empathetic for those people who don't know how to break the cycle. They don't know how to create income. They don't know how to take care of their families. They weren't taught. And while we can say we live in an age of lots of information, it's almost too much information, right? It's overload. You don't know who to believe. You don't know where to go. And then you're stuck.
It's true. Very true. But I mean, let's be honest, that government cheese was the bomb.
Oh, yeah. Milk, eggs, cheese. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I will say there's a restaurant, and I don't know if it's outside of California, but it's called Arby's. And in high school, I used to get Arby's lunch for free.
Arby's roast beef, you mean?
Yeah, those roast beef sandwiches. I will never eat that again. I don't eat Taco Bell because that was one of our free lunches. It's just like, brings back those bad memories. So break the cycle, then I need to break the habit. No more Arby's.
I just it's so funny. I was in down near Dallas yesterday, and I'm driving up Preston Road, coming back up north, and there's a freaking Arby's. I noticed it, and I was like, "There's an Arby's. They have Arby's here. I didn't know they had Arby's here. I've only been here 2 years." I'm like, "There's an Arby's." I haven't had Arby's in a while. I actually like Arby's.
Yeah, well, you don't like it when you get it every Friday for lunch, so.
Yeah. Well, so did you ever go through? I did. I went through several years of professional counseling. Like I had to, or otherwise, and I think that doing Alcoholics Anonymous meetings for 13 years helped a lot too. But do you see value in that, in the one-on-one or group counseling where you get to talk about this stuff and get it out there and heal?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I do believe I will be forever in therapy as I go through different parts of my life. I
Yeah.
am divorced and I went through intense therapy for that because I understand a lot of what my behavior and what I was thinking and feeling comes from my childhood. I
Yeah.
will forever be in therapy. It may be more often during certain periods, but there's so much that my brain is programmed that it's not something that you can unprogram. You just have to become aware, and then you
Yeah.
have to keep changing that thought pattern in your own brain. But therapy is necessary. I think therapy is necessary whether or not you came from a traumatic childhood, because there's always things that we can learn about ourselves and grow. And to
Yeah.
have a professional lead you through that is so important, because even though my first stop is to pray to God and to ask for wisdom and knowledge and guidance, I still need someone else to kind of go outside of my own thoughts and help me through some transitions.
Yeah.
So it was very important for me, and I don't think I'll ever stop, having some type of therapist in my life.
Yeah, I mean, on this journey for me, it's been interesting because I'm in the self-help industry and I'm a speaker, and I think that a lot of that comes from I discovered that there's life after all of that, and it can be a magical and beautiful thing if we allow it to be, right? So I think that you're incredible. So you're living you said you moved to Tampa,
Yes,
right?
yes, but
Okay.
then I went through the divorce, and I
Okay.
did my ex does billboard advertising, and I really got tired of seeing his face everywhere, so I moved to Miami.
Well, let's hope he doesn't open up an office in Miami also. Wow. So is he still in real estate? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
He
he's still
was
in real estate.
okay.
We actually have
Okay.
a great relationship today, business relationship. My daughter's
Good.
20, she's almost 21. So
Yeah.
I believe you can control that, as much as
Yeah.
possible. You can be a good person and
Yeah.
show her that there is life after the end of a marriage. So
Yeah.
we're on good terms, but I just choose for Miami for now. And then
Yeah.
he lives in Tampa. We can, still be friends, but not have to see each other.
So what is it that you're doing now in Miami?
So I sold my company last year. I had a property and casualty insurance company, which is like home auto flood. I sold
Yep.
that last year. One, I was burnt. I didn't have the right team in place. I wasn't the great leader that I needed to be, and I had to recognize that. And I've had some
Yeah.
health issues. So sold that. I had some bucket list items that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
One was to launch a podcast and become a top podcast. So that happened with Empower Her Money. I wanted to be able to throw my own event for women and teach women about business and sell it out. I did that last year. I also
Good
wrote a
for
book.
you.
I hired a coach, and I wanted to be a best-selling author and really teach women about money. And so that's which side? This is the book that's behind me, called Empower Your Money. So I became a
Wow.
best-selling author last year, and I've had
Do
to
you have a
challenge,
copy of the book with you?
not physically, it's over
Oh.
there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's on
Um,
Amazon.
yeah, I would love to have I can go like this and you can jump up and go get the book so you can show everybody.
I actually can't because I'm packed right now. I'm moving.
Oh, I got okay. So it's on Amazon and it's called
Yes.
Empower Your Money, written by Angela Duncan. Is
Yes.
there let me ask you this. What is because I want to have this up on the screen. What is your website address that I can put up? Do you have one?
Yeah. Empowerhermoney.com.
Empowerhermoney.com. That's awesome. So your life goal now um is financial literacy for women.
Yes. Breaking
Have you
that.
ever huh? Pardon me?
Breaking that gap.
Okay. So have you ever met Sharon Lecter?
I haven't, but I love her story because I think a lot of people don't know the Rich Dad, Poor Dad story and how the book came about and
Yeah.
how the game was first and the book was more of a manual written for it. But yeah, I love her story.
Sharon is amazing. You guys need to connect. I can help you do that. She's an amazing lady. And she does the same. She teaches financial literacy. And
Yes.
my wife is on here. She put your website address up there. So thank you for that, Jill.
Thank you,
Um
Jill.
so talk about, if you would, you're doing all of this financial literacy for women. I know you probably don't believe this, but men need help with that too. Um, I'm just kidding. I know you believe that. But so just for anybody in general, what are some of the big um, things that you see people do that they don't really truly understand about money or what you're teaching? And I'm
Right.
going to give you full screen for this, by the way. So
Okay.
I'm still here.
First, you need to know that you're not alone.
Right.
Whatever financial circumstance you're in, yes, you've made decisions to get there, but you're not alone. And it's not impossible to get out of it. Credit card debt is one of the biggest factors for poverty in the US. We have $1.3 trillion, and that number is constantly going up. USDebtClock.org does track that, and I pay attention to that. It's one thing I'm passionate about. It's something that we can solve. It's not some unknown disease that doesn't have a cure. Credit card debt is something that we can solve. If you look at statistics, 75% of women who come out of a divorce actually go on financial assistance, which costs millions and millions of dollars for the government. So helping to
Wow.
educate women as they come out of a divorce is extremely important so that they can still live a lifestyle and support themselves and perhaps some children, and getting them back into the job force if necessary. So, just knowing that there's help out there and asking for help, finding the right resources for you so that you can learn and take control of your own money. It's so important. And the female entrepreneurs, I'm giving you props out there. I know it's a lot of work, and we kind of approach business differently. We approach investing differently, but there are women out there and they want to help you and they're successful in their own fields and they want to give back, just like myself. I spend a lot of time helping, coaching, teaching other women and speaking about financial education because I want you to take control of your finances. I want you to change that cycle or get rid of the poverty gap, but get to a place where you're financially independent and secure. It's possible. You've got to put in the work. You've got to put in the action, and you've got to get in the rooms with the right people.
Wow. That's incredible. And you have a podcast, you're saying you have a podcast.
Yes, it's called Empower Her Money. I interview other women business owners, and I'm a practical person. So I want to give you tips that you are going to take away today and be able to implement, because the way we learn from each other is from our own mistakes. So I ask the women to teach when they're on the podcast so that someone listening who could be, similar to them 5 years ago, then they can not make those same mistakes and hopefully get to their own financial goals quicker.
That's so awesome. You need to have Sharon on your show.
Oh, I would love to have Sharon on my show.
So
She is
Joe Ingram is friends with Sharon. So am I. Joe, you need to make that introduction, bro, if you're still watching.
I will follow up with both of you.
Yeah, we can. I think if we both gang up on her, we can get hold on. Don't use the website Joe used on his show. Why? What was that?
Oh, yes. Well, I was saying, because Joe, I don't remember how you got that information, but yes, he was streaming a pod or the website at the bottom, and it wasn't a website that I even remembered, and we weren't really using. So
Oh, geez.
but
That's hilarious.
thank you, Joe, though. You brought it to my attention, and I told my team, I was like, we need to redirect this website because I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So my wife says that is what's important, teaching practical tips. So what if somebody right now, and this is important because I've been homeless as an adult, and I've been wealthy as an adult, and wealthy is way better. And but there may be people that are watching right now that are having their electric turned off, or they're struggling to whatever. I mean, it's right now is a not so easy time. What kind of tips would you give somebody that's just ready to give up? Because I've been there. I've been in that place where, I thought, what's the point of living? Like, what's the point of even moving on from here? What would you say to somebody to give them some inspiration to keep moving forward?
Yeah. Um, for me, it was finding church, finding an incredible, amazing church Bible study group of women. They really poured into me and they helped me believe that this is not the end of my story, that God had a
Mm.
greater purpose for me, and that this is just a lesson. So, what is it in this lesson that I'm learning? And, for someone who might be, feeling like they're at the end, they're going to be able to empathize with somebody later in that very situation. But I encourage you not to give up. I encourage you to keep moving forward, and you've got to connect with someone who's going to help you get there. And there's so many people who will give this for free, but you have to take the action. So make that step, even if it's just a baby step, one step forward, find one person and connect with people, get in community, because you're not alone and we're not made to be alone. God created us in community because he wants us to help each other. And you've got to find that community. And we exist. I'm in a great community. I'm here too. One of them is on Zoom, one of them is in person. And so we're out here, just reach out to someone. You can reach out to me. I can help connect you with somebody, but don't give up.
I love that. I love that. What's so trying to think how to word this. For somebody that's maybe never, I'm sure you have people say, I've just never been good with money or things like that, right? How do you and there's people over on Instagram watching too. Dr. Razan, it's good to see you, and blessings by Barb. So for the people who say things like, I've never been good with money, or or they actually are not good with money, what advice, how do you guide somebody, because you're kind of in that realm, right? Like, you just try to guide people on where do you start, what do you say to them, how does that process work?
All right. So let's change that story. This is a lie that you're telling yourself. And maybe you have done some actions to, promote that lie to yourself, but
Yeah.
it's time to change your story. You can be good at money without knowing everything about money. And it's basic financial principles. You've got to know what your income is. You need to know what your real expenses are. What can you not live without? And look at your bank statements. Look at your credit card statements. Look at the subscriptions on your phone. Cut everything out that you don't need, because really, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, we need food, water, shelter. We don't
Yep.
really need all the other stuff. We want them, sure, but right now, cut them out. Because if you're in a situation where you feel like you don't have enough money to pay your bills, you got to get rid of everything else. And it could be even moving, changing jobs, getting a roommate, whatever that looks like to you. You've got to start with something. And so having your own financial house in order is the first step for you to meet any financial goals. Whether you're an employee, you have your own business, your own financial house needs to be in order first. God gives you what you can handle. I've heard that saying, and I don't
Yeah.
believe it. I actually believe that God gives you more than you can handle, because he wants you to lean on him. And that's where your community comes into place.
I love that. That's
You
pretty
mentioned Jill
awesome.
keeps popping in here. Jill, I want you on my podcast.
That's awesome. That my wife.
Yes.
Yes, she would be a great guest. She's way smarter than I am. She was the global VP of marketing for a couple of different $500 million companies. So
Yeah, and I bet
um
she's got a great story she can share and teach as well.
she does. Yeah. I mean, her story really got started when she met me and we got married, but I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, Jill's amazing. I'll connect you guys. So what pretend for a moment, because I don't know. I mean, my audience is maybe 150,000 ish. That's not who's watching, but it's the potential. Um, Pretend that you're standing with a microphone and you have the attention of all 8 billion people on planet Earth.
Hmm.
And I mean, we just had President Trump. We know what happened with him the other day, and there's so much hatred and anger and everything going on in the world right now. um, I'm going to give you the microphone to speak to all 8 billion people on planet Earth right now. What do you have to say to everyone?
So when I personally am having a down day, or perhaps I feel like I'm not winning, if you think about one thing, if you were to reach out to one person and say, how can I help you today? What is your biggest struggle? And just help that one person from your heart, no expectations, nothing's coming back to you. But your role today is to help one person. If you think about if every person on this planet did that for one person, then every person on this planet would be impacted positively. Someone reached out to them today and said, how can I help you? I
Mm,
don't feel like that's complicated, but we get go like so consumed in our own world that we forget we're here to serve other people. So serve just one person today. In fact, I did a challenge with my community this week where I challenged them for the next 30 days to text one person and just say something positive to them. You know them, say something positive and encourage them for their day. And the amount of people that are participating is incredible, but it's something you can do that takes less than a minute. How can I help you today?
that is absolutely beautiful. That's beautiful. I think that, if we can just remember, um, I had this girl cut my hair yesterday, and she's Muslim, and she was afraid to tell me that. I said, you don't need
Mhm.
to be afraid to tell me that. Like it is what it is. I don't judge. I don't care. Like I really truly don't. I think that we need more um, we need more kindness in this
Mhm.
world. We just do, and I love that. I love that challenge. Actually, now I'm going to have to challenge my community, but I think that's good. That's the way that it works. That's the way that it works. So what else would you say to the world? I mean, I mean, here you are. You're a finance expert. What would you say? What would you say to people that are like? Is there anything else you would say, like, besides cut out all the stuff that you don't need? Um, look, I practice Joeism. WW.
What would Joe do
Oh my
instead of
god.
WWJD, which obviously we know is used by what would Jesus do?
Right, right. Nice try, Joe. You can't steal from the man. So I mean,
Are
it
you asking
sounds
Joe's
like,
parting advice? Last words of wisdom.
yeah, what would that be? I mean, what would it be to wake people up? What would you say?
Yeah. So, I mean, once you have your financial house in order and you're figuring out, what you're going to do, the other big thing I teach women is you've got to invest in your own retirement first. It's
Mm,
hard for us to think about us first, but if you don't take care of yourself first, you're actually being pretty selfish because you can't expect the world to take care of you and you to take care of the world, right?
yeah.
So investing in retirement, oftentimes the women come to me and they want to put money away for their kids' college, but they haven't invested in their own retirement. We can't get a loan for retirement. And who knows how long you're going to survive on this beautiful earth. So make sure that you have money set aside for yourself first before you start putting away money for your kids' college.
I love what you just said. We can't get a loan for retirement. Wow. Wow. But we can use Joe's credit cards.
But But you can get a loan for education. You can go get a loan for a house, a car. People have credit cards that they're using inappropriately sometimes, but you can't live off of it during retirement.
So we were talking a little bit before the show started. What are some of the things that you do because I'm big on, you got to keep educating yourself. I did not finish high school. I didn't go to college. And I've had a lot of college graduates work for me, however, over the years. But I think about, when I was 20 years old, I realized that I was an idiot. I didn't know anything. And I decided I got to start reading and learning and absorbing. And I've never stopped. I read every day of my life, and I'm constantly trying to improve that. And I always felt like really insecure about it until I heard Brian Tracy say he didn't graduate. And I was like, all right, there's hope for me. But so what are some of the things that you do to continue growing and educating yourself? We talked about one of the things prior to the show starting. Talk about that.
Yeah. I love putting myself in the room where I'm not the smartest person. So that's a big thing for me, is going to different type of events, networking, and making sure that I'm always continuing my education in that piece. You talked about books. I still read books. I prefer a paper book over anything electronic, even today, because I'm one of those like highlighters with notes and stuff. And I spend a lot of time educating myself on business and money because that's my passion. That's what I want to teach other people. So I can't continue to teach them if I'm not allowing myself to be a student as well. So I'm big on that. And I've always had mentors and coaches. I don't think that that's ever going to stop either, because not only do I have, my therapist for my mental health, I also want to make sure that I'm educating myself through coaches, because they have other experiences that they can teach and share with me as well. And they coach other people that can teach me as well. But I'm a big believer in, I'm not going to sit at home. I'm going to continue to either read or watch great videos. I don't have Netflix or subscribe to any services, because for me, that's just garbage for my head. And I prefer to, allow my brain to soak in the best information so that I'm a better version of myself, so that I can still serve others.
I love that. That's awesome. Angela Duncan, you truly are amazing. I love everything that you're doing and teaching, and everything you're talking about is incredible. Joe says comic books don't count as. All right, Joe. What is wrong with him?
I don't know. I will say I don't read or watch those type of things, but occasionally I do go to the movies to watch something that's not business related. So do give yourself a break.
Yeah, you got to have a break. I agree. So where's the best place on social media for everyone to follow you?
I'm on Instagram, Empower Her Money, or the website empowerhermoney.com.
Okay. Everybody, make sure you go check out empowerhermoney.com. Go follow Angela on Instagram at empowerhermoney. And Angela, thank you. I'm so grateful. Thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to end the live stream, but you stay with me and we'll chat here in a minute. But everybody watching, please share this out. Let's get a lot of attention on this. And if you're listening on the podcast network, go over to empowerhermoney.com and check out Angela and everything she's got going on. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we will see you very soon. Thanks so much, Angela.